Good morning, David.
Good morning, Nadira.
In an organization, David, who should own a risk?
This is an important question, but it's an easy question. Risk is an uncertainty that, if it occurs, would affect objectives. And in every organization that has objectives, objectives should be owned by somebody.
Yes.
And so if a risk is an uncertainty that affects objectives, then the person who should own the risk is the person who owns the objectives that should be affected. Because if risk is, to use our other shorter definition, risk is uncertainty that matters, the question is, who does it matter to? If a risk matters to me, then I need to know about it, I need to think about it, I need to record it, and I need to manage it. If a risk matters to you, I don't need to think about it because it doesn't matter to me, it matters to you, but you need to think about it. So if it's your objective, it's your risk. Now this means that if we have a strategic risk, strategic risks affect strategic objectives, they should be owned by the people who own those strategic objectives, which is senior management. If we have a technical risk, technical risks affect technical objectives. They should be owned by a technical team or a technical specialist. Project risks are owned by the project manager, business risks are owned by business owners, and so on. And of course, it goes all the way to personal risks, risks that affect my personal objectives, to be happy and healthy and wealthy and wise, we say in English. Anything that affects my personal objectives, I own those risks. So I'm responsible for thinking about them, assessing them, and for managing them because they're my objectives. The only other thing to think about is actions. Sometimes I own a risk, which means I'm responsible for managing it, but I can't do anything about it myself. So I might need to have somebody else to help me, in which case I can get a risk action owner to work with me or for me in order to manage my risks. So it may be that because my objectives are affected, I'm the risk owner, but I can't do anything within my power, within my authority, within my competence to manage the risk, and I need to ask for somebody else's assistance and help. I'm still the risk owner because it's my objectives, so I own the risk, but if they can help to implement my response strategy, then they can own the actions which will help me to manage my risk. So there is a difference between the risk owner and the risk action owner, but in terms of owning risks, the answer is the person who owns the objective owns the risks.
Okay, so those who are managing the risk, they should own the risk. Does it come with accountability as well?
Well, that depends on what the risk is. Obviously, some objectives are set at a high level and people are not really accountable to anyone. Not very common. Most of us are accountable to somebody because our objectives exist in a hierarchy. We talked about that in an earlier question. So objectives exist usually to meet a higher objective. We contribute to that. So a project objective will contribute to a program or portfolio objective, which means that the project manager is accountable to the program or portfolio manager. A departmental objective will contribute to a strategic objective. So the departmental manager is responsible to senior management. And so the same is true with risks. We're accountable for the management of my risks to the person who owns the objective at the next level.
Thank you very much, David.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Nadira.